The Awakening Void. Commander Farah Chen stood at the observation deck of humanity's most ambitious achievement, the deep space vessel Athena. 5 kilometers of reinforced alloys and cutting-edge technology stretched behind her, housing 20,000 souls, scientists, engineers, military personnel, and their families. Unlike the generational ships of old science fiction, the Athena could make the journey to distant stars within a human lifetime, thanks to the experimental quantum displacement drive that folded spacetime like origami. 3 years into their mission to explore the Cygnus constellation, Farah still found herself mesmerized by the view. Stars scattered across the void like diamonds on black velvet, indifferent to the tiny human vessel crawling between them. Born in the megacities of Earth's Pacific Rim, Farah had never seen natural stars until she was 17. Now, at 42, she commanded humanity's boldest expedition into the unknown. "Commander," the calm voice of Lieutenant Samira Karim broke her reverie. "Navigation has detected an anomaly 11 light hours ahead." Farah turned, one eyebrow raised. "Define anomaly, Lieutenant." "Gravitational readings inconsistent with observed mass," Samira replied, handing over a data tablet. "There's something there that our sensors can't properly interpret." The tablet displayed a 3-dimensional model of their projected course. A section of seemingly empty space glowed with a peculiar rippling effect, like heat waves over desert sand. "Has Dr. Okafor seen this?" Farah asked, referring to their lead astrophysicist. "She's analyzing it now. Preliminary assessment suggests it's not a natural phenomenon." A small smile tugged at the corner of Farah's mouth. After 3 years of cataloging uninhabited systems, was this finally the moment humanity had been waiting for? First contact had been the dream since humans first looked up at the stars, but despite centuries of searching, Earth remained alone in the cosmos, at least as far as anyone could prove. "Alert the senior staff. I want a full briefing in 1 hour." The briefing room buzzed with nervous energy as department heads and specialists gathered. Dr. Nkeoma Okafor, a brilliant Nigerian astrophysicist with salt and pepper hair twisted into elaborate braids, stood before a holographic display of the anomaly. "Whatever we're dealing with, it defies conventional physics," she explained, manipulating the display to show the gravitational waves emanating from the region. "It's as if space itself is being manipulated, but there's no visible mass causing the distortion." Captain Miguel Reyes, Farah's second-in-command and head of security, frowned. A veteran of Earth's last resource war, he had the cautious demeanor of someone who had seen optimism punished too many times. "Could it be a weapon, or some kind of trap?" he asked. Dr. Okafor shook her head. "The pattern is too regular, too stable. If I had to guess, I'd say it's more like infrastructure." "Infrastructure," Farah repeated. "You mean something built?" "Yes, but not in the way we build things. This isn't metal or composites. It's more like someone has woven the fabric of space-time itself into a structure." The room fell silent as the implications sank in. Such technology was centuries beyond humanity's capabilities. "We need to get closer," Farah decided. "Prepare the Athena for approach at 1/4 thrust, and ready a probe for immediate launch. I want detailed scans before we commit the ship." Captain Rice straightened. "Commander, with respect, we should maintain distance until we understand what we're dealing with." Farah met his gaze steadily. "Miguel, this is why we're here. 20,000 people left Earth to find something exactly like this. We'll be cautious, but we will investigate." The next 72 hours passed in a blur of activity as the Athena crept closer to the anomaly. The probe, launched ahead, transmitted increasingly bizarre readings back to the ship. "The gravitational fields are forming patterns," Dr. Okafor reported during the daily briefing. "Mathematical sequences, geometric shapes. It's as if they're trying to establish a baseline for communication." "Or they're scanning us," Captain Rice countered. "Both could be true," Farah said. "Are we capable of responding in kind?" Dr. Anton Vasiliev, their communications specialist, nodded enthusiastically. We've modified one of our gravitational sensors to emit similar patterns. We can start with simple mathematical constants, pi, the golden ratio, prime number sequences. Do it, Farah ordered. Their response triggered an immediate reaction. The anomaly pulsed with new energy patterns, and the gravitational waves reshaped themselves. They're responding, Dr. Vasiliev exclaimed. The patterns are becoming more complex. I think they're trying to establish a shared symbolic language. Over the next week, the exchange accelerated. What began as mathematical concepts evolved into more abstract ideas, representations of atomic structures, star formations, and eventually simplified diagrams of both the Athena and what they assumed were the aliens themselves. The images they received depicted entities unlike anything humanity had imagined. Not solid beings, but complex patterns of energy that flowed through the void, manipulating gravitational fields to form vast networks that span between star systems. They exist in the vacuum of space, Dr. O'Keefer said with awe. They don't need planets or atmospheres. Space itself is their habitat. Farah struggled to comprehend beings so fundamentally different from humans. Can they perceive us? Understand what we are? I believe so, Dr. Vasiliev replied. Their latest transmission included what appears to be a representation of our internal ship layout. They can somehow see through our hull. Captain Rice shifted uncomfortably. That's concerning. It's fascinating, Dr. Okafor countered. They perceive reality in ways we can barely comprehend. The communications grew increasingly sophisticated until, 3 weeks after first detection, Dr. Vasiliev burst onto the bridge, his usually composed demeanor shattered by excitement. Commander, they've invited us deeper into their, I guess we'd call it a territory. They've created what looks like a designated meeting point. Farah felt her heart race. This was the moment every human explorer had dreamed of since the first crude rockets left Earth's atmosphere. How can you be sure it's an invitation? Captain Rice asked. Dr. Vasiliev displayed the latest transmission on the main view screen. It showed a representation of the Athena moving along a specific path toward a concentrated node of energy patterns. They've repeated this sequence 3 times, he explained, and they've created what appears to be a stable region at these coordinates, like clearing a space for us. Farah made her decision. Set course for the designated coordinates. Alert all departments to prepare for direct first contact protocols. The Athena's massive engines pulsed as it changed course, heading deeper into the anomaly. As they approached, the true scale of the alien presence revealed itself. What had appeared as isolated gravitational distortions expanded into an intricate web of energy that stretched across millions of kilometers. It's like a city, Communications Officer Kai Wong whispered, staring at the sensor displays, or an entire civilization built directly into space. The designated meeting point was a sphere of relatively stable space approximately 5 kilometers in diameter, just large enough to accommodate the Athena. As they approached, the energy patterns around the sphere shifted, forming what looked like an opening. They're letting us in, Farah said, feeling a sense of profound awe. Take us through, helmsman. 1/8 thrust. The Athena glided through the opening into an environment unlike anything humans had ever experienced. Inside the sphere, space itself seemed alive with swirling patterns of light, blues, purples, and colors human eyes had no names for. There was no solid surface, no obvious technology as humans understood it, just pure energy in constant, mesmerizing motion. Life support systems functioning normally, reported Chief Engineer Deshi Lin. Whatever this field is, it's not interfering with our ship's operations. Can we communicate from here? Farah asked Dr. Vasiliev. Before he could answer, the energy patterns around them intensified, coalescing into distinct forms that approached the ship. Each was roughly 3 meters in diameter, pulsing with internal light that shifted through patterns too complex for human eyes to fully process. They're showing themselves, Dr. Okafor whispered. One of the forms extended what appeared to be a tendril of energy that stopped just short of touching the Athena's hull. Captain Rice tensed, his hand instinctively moving toward the weapon's control panel. "Stand down, Miguel," Farah ordered quietly. "They're curious, not threatening." Dr. Vasiliev's console chimed. "Commander, I'm getting coherent patterns that our translation algorithms can process. It's crude, but they're communicating directly." A series of modulated tones emerged from the bridge speakers, accompanied by shifting light patterns on the view screen. The translation appeared as text. "You beings solid, we beings energy. Long searching finding others." Farah felt tears prick at the corners of her eyes. First contact. After all humanity's struggles, all its near misses with self-destruction, they had found another intelligence among the stars. She nodded to Dr. Vasiliev to activate their response system. "Tell them, we too have searched long for others. We come in peace and friendship." The translation went out as similar tones and light patterns displayed on the Athena's external projectors. The energy beings pulsed rapidly, their colors shifting through spectrums. Different form, same seeking. Exchange knowledge. "Yes," Farah responded immediately. "We wish to exchange knowledge." What followed was a careful, methodical sharing of basic concepts. The beings, who communicated that they called themselves something that translated roughly as the flowing, seemed fascinated by the physical nature of humans and their ship. After several hours of this exchange, Farah felt they had established enough of a foundation to move forward. "We would like to continue our discussions and learn more about you," she told them. The response was immediate and unexpected. The three beings flared brightly, their colors turning sharp and jarring. The entire sphere around them pulsed with what Farah could only interpret as alarm. Danger, death-making core, threat to flowing. Captain Rice tensed again. "Commander, their energy readings are spiking dramatically." Farah raised a hand for calm, though her own heart was racing. "There's a misunderstanding. We mean no harm." But the energy beings were already withdrawing, the sphere around them contracting. "Others coming. Protect the flowing. Your vessel must leave." Outside the Athena, the vast network of energy strands was changing, condensing, moving toward them with purpose. And beyond, on the edge of their sensors, more of these beings were approaching. Dozens, perhaps hundreds. "Commander," the tactical officer called urgently. "Multiple energy signatures converging on our position. We're being surrounded." Farah realized with a sinking feeling that the first contact was spiraling into a confrontation. Somehow, the flowing saw their ship as a threat. But why? Then it hit her. "The quantum drive," she whispered, turning to Chief Engineer Lin. "Could they be detecting our engine core?" Lin's eyes widened with understanding. "The drive manipulates space-time to beings that exist as patterns in space-time itself. It would appear as a weapon," Farah finished grimly. Around them, the flowing gathered in increasing numbers, their energy patterns becoming more aggressive. Humanity's greatest moment of discovery now teetered on the edge of disaster. The choice of worlds. The Athena shuddered as waves of gravitational distortion washed over its hull. Alarms blared across all decks as the ship's stabilizers struggled to compensate. "Shields holding at 83%, reported Tactical Officer Devi Sharma. "But they're increasing pressure on our containment fields." On the view screen, the energy beings, the flowing, had formed a tight perimeter around the Athena. Their once beautiful patterns now pulsed with sharp, jagged rhythms that the translation system interpreted as warnings and threats. "Danger vessel. Weapon core. Must neutralize." Captain Rice stood rigid beside the weapons control station. "Commander, we need to power up defensive systems. They're treating this as an attack." "No," Farah said firmly. "Powering weapons will only confirm their fears." Dr. Okafor approached Farah, her expression urgent. "Commander, I believe they're reacting to our quantum displacement drive. The way it folds space-time would appear, to beings who exist as patterns in space-time, like we're carrying a device that can tear apart the fabric of their reality. Farah nodded slowly. It made terrible sense. So, from their perspective, we've brought a doomsday weapon into their home. Precisely. And they're trying to contain it before it can be activated. Another violent shudder ran through the ship. Chief Engineer Lin's voice came over the comm system, tense but controlled. Commander, they're creating some kind of dampening field around our drive core. Power output dropping to 65% and falling. If this continues, we'll lose propulsion entirely. The situation was deteriorating rapidly. 20,000 lives depended on Farah's next decision, not to mention humanity's first, and possibly last, relationship with an alien intelligence. Options, she asked, looking around at her senior staff. We can't outrun them, Captain Rice said grimly. And I doubt we could fight our way out even if we tried. Communication is our only viable approach, Dr. Vassiliev insisted. We need to make them understand that our drive isn't a weapon. But it could be, Chief Engineer Lin countered via comm. The theoretical applications of our quantum technology could indeed disrupt space-time if misused. They're not entirely wrong to be concerned. Farah made her decision. Dr. Vassiliev, transmit continuously that we mean no harm. Explain that we'll power down our drive system as a show of good faith. She turned to Lin. Can we safely shut down the quantum core while maintaining life support? Yes, but we'd be stranded, Lin replied. Without the quantum drive, we'd be limited to conventional propulsion. It would take decades to reach even the nearest star system. Better stranded than destroyed, Farah said. Begin shutdown procedures. As the Athena's quantum core powered down, the agitation among the flowing seemed to decrease marginally. The gravitational pressure eased, though the ship remained surrounded. Weapon core quieting. Still danger. Purpose. Farah leaned forward. Tell them we've disabled our drive to show we mean no harm. Ask if we may send a smaller vessel, a shuttle, with a few representatives to continue our dialogue. The response came after several tense minutes. Small vessel permitted. Few beings only. No weapon technology. Captain Reyes immediately objected. Commander, you can't seriously be considering leaving the ship. I'm not just considering it, Miguel. I'm doing it, Farah replied. This is first contact. Everything humanity has worked toward for centuries. I won't let it end in misunderstanding and conflict. Then I'm coming with you, he said firmly. Farah nodded. Along with Dr. Okafor and Dr. Vassiliev, we need their expertise. Preparations for the shuttle mission proceeded quickly. They selected the smallest vessel in the Athena's complement, powered only by conventional thrusters with no quantum technology. 4 hours after the confrontation began, the shuttle detached from the Athena's main bay and moved slowly toward a designated area where the flowing's energy patterns had formed a smaller sphere. As they crossed the threshold, Farah felt a strange tingling sensation across her skin. The shuttle's instruments registered unusual energy readings, but nothing immediately harmful. We're inside, she said quietly. Hold position here. Almost immediately, 3 of the flowing manifested before their viewport, pulsing with patterns that the translation system struggled to fully interpret. Why come? Why bring weapon core to flowing space? We didn't know you existed, Farah explained. Our drive, what you call the weapon core, is how we travel between stars. We use it to explore, to learn, to find others like you. We didn't know it could harm you. Technology dangerous. Tears reality fabric. We exist in reality fabric. Dr. Okafor leaned forward. May I? She asked Farah, who nodded. We understand now, Okafor said to the flowing. Your existence is integrated with space-time itself. Our technology manipulates space-time for travel. This creates a conflict we didn't anticipate, but we can adapt. Humans are very good at finding new solutions to problems. The flowing pulsed in patterns the translation system interpreted as skepticism. Solid beings always destroy. History shows this pattern. Farah felt a chill. You've encountered other solid beings before. Many cycles passed, came with burning weapons, tried to harvest energy patterns for power. Many flowing died. We are not them, Farah insisted. Humans have made many mistakes in our history, but we learn. We adapt. We're here to understand, not to take. Captain Reyes, who had remained silent until now, stepped forward. If you wanted to destroy us, you could have. Instead, you warned us. You contained us. You're giving us a chance to explain. That shows wisdom and restraint, qualities we respect. The flowing pulsed among themselves in complex patterns too rapid for the translation system to process. Finally, they responded. Problem remains. Weapon core cannot exist in flowing space. Danger too great. What if we could modify our technology? Dr. Okafor suggested. Create a new drive system that doesn't disrupt your existence. Possible. Solid beings adapt technology so quickly. It's what we do best, Farah said with newfound confidence. Humanity has gone from primitive flight to interstellar travel in less than 3 centuries. We can solve this problem too, especially with your help. Your understanding of space-time far exceeds ours. The flowing conferred again, their patterns shifting in what Farah hoped was consideration rather than dismissal. Proposal. Small group of humans stay, work with flowing teachers, learn safe technology. Large ship retreat beyond system edge. It wasn't ideal, but it was an opening. Farah looked at her team. Captain Rice nodded slightly. A significant concession from the security-minded officer. Dr. Okafor's eyes shone with excitement at the prospect of learning from the flowing, while Dr. Vassiliev already seemed lost in contemplation of new communication methods. We accept, Farah said. A research team will remain while our main vessel retreats to a safe distance, but we request regular communication with our ship and guarantees of our team's safety. Agreed. Begin new understanding. In the days that followed, a delicate new relationship formed. The Athena retreated to the edge of the system, powered by conventional engines. Meanwhile, a team of 30 volunteers, scientists, engineers, and diplomats established a small research station in a bubble of space, the flowing created specifically for them. The learning went both ways. The humans discovered that the flowing were ancient beyond comprehension, having evolved from energy patterns formed in the earliest eras of the universe. They had no concept of planets or biological life until relatively recent cosmic history, and regarded solid matter as a fascinating but temporary state of existence. In return, the flowing learned about human resilience, creativity, and adaptability. They were particularly intrigued by art, music, and storytelling, concepts alien to beings who experience time very differently. 6 months after the confrontation, Chief Engineer Lin and Dr. Okafor made a breakthrough. Working with concepts provided by the flowing, they developed a prototype for a new drive system, one that navigated the currents of space-time rather than folding it, causing no disruption to the flowing's existence. It's actually more efficient, Lin explained during a communication back to the Athena. By working with the natural structure of space-time rather than forcing it, we reduce energy consumption by nearly 40%. And the flowing say they could help establish current paths between star systems that would further increase our speed. The implications were staggering. Not only had humanity found its first alien intelligence, but they were on the verge of a technological revolution that would transform their understanding of the universe. 1 year after first contact, Commander Farah Chen stood again on the Athena's observation deck. The ship had been retrofitted with the new current drive and was preparing to return to Earth with news that would forever change human civilization. Beside her, one of the flowing manifested as a swirling pattern of light, now able to maintain a stable presence within the ship thanks to modifications the humans had made to accommodate their new allies. Journey home begins. Feelings. Farah smiled. The flowing had become increasingly interested in human emotions, though the concept remained somewhat alien to them. Pride, she answered. Hope. A little fear too. about how Earth will respond to everything we've learned. Change difficult for all beings, but necessary for growth. Yes, Farah agreed, watching as more of the flowing gathered outside the viewport, their energy patterns forming what humans had come to recognize as a gesture of respect and friendship. Change is how we move forward. The Athena's new engines hummed to life, slipping smoothly into the currents of space-time that the flowing had helped them map. As the great ship accelerated toward Earth, it left behind not a silent void, but a cosmos awakened to the possibility of different kinds of intelligence finding common ground among the stars. Humanity had faced its moment of truth and chosen understanding over fear, cooperation over conflict. The universe, it seemed, had been waiting for just such a choice. As the first stars streaked past the viewport, Farah thought of all the generations who had looked up at the night sky and wondered if humanity was alone. She wished they could see what she had seen, know what she now knew. We were never alone, she thought. We just needed to learn how to listen to the void between the stars.